somebody put like a little bug in my ear. A couple people said this. Is that the plan is for Errol Spence to take on the winner of Danny Garcia, Erislandy, Lara, and make him a two weight division world champion or titleist, depending on how you look at it. I think you can call him a champion at 147, even if he do or don't fight Errol Spence. I'm not gonna push back against that. Yeah, man, I wasn't even thinking about it. You know, we kind of heard the news about Michael Zeffra and Lara and Danny Garcia and stuff of that nature. So yeah, we heard that news or whatever. So, cool, man. I mean, it is what it is, man. Me and Lion Killer was talking about this years ago, how we thought Errol Spence should jump over 154, and I think he'd kind of come back to 154 and grab a belt. But 160, even a few years ago, 160 seemed a lot safer for him, or just in general, a lot less dangerous. And 160 ain't had a lot of turnover yet, neither. So think about that for a minute. 160 ain't had a tremendous amount of turnover when you start talking about competition, or just top fighters. I mean, Canelo peeked his head in that bitch for a minute. Golovkin was there for a second, but he really ain't fight nobody worth mentioning, not named Canelo. So even when Martinez was there, you know, he kind of caught Kelly Pavlik on his way out of there. So yeah, still pretty much like a safe haven at this point. I mean, 54 is dangerous. Anybody from the top 15 can catch you on any given night. Some guys that we do know, some guys that some of us don't know. So that are actually dangerous and shit like that. So I mean, yeah, that sound about right. Him and Danny Garcia probably fight for the middleweight title at a catchweight. I actually could see Errol Spence coming up to full 160 pounds. I know Danny won versus Lara, so that's interesting that he get his second title, second title he'll get his, I don't even know how to even say this, dog. He'll win a title outside his original weight class, 2 weight classes above his original weight class. It's usually something that's not as common. But I think he'd come back and grab something at 54 too. But if it makes sense to unify at 160, some people might think he might be better at 160. And I also think with him, you know, kind of suppressing his body down to 160 pounds, bro, I think that, honestly, I think, down to 47, I think he probably gonna acclimate quicker to 160, honestly. At 54, he probably was just gonna take a few tight fights there, and by the time you know it, he probably is gonna be physically ready to go to 160 anyway. So if he do get that 60 title, it's gonna be some decisions to be made. Do I stay there, or can I go down to 54, get a shot, come back up there, just say I got a title at 54? Do Jamel stay at 54? He said he don't have really no problem making 54, but you hear his brother say he do. I mean, how does that work? You know, how would that work for him? Because I know you want to call yourself a 3-weight division champion or title holder. So right now, it's a lot less dangerous at 160. You know, is it more fruitful at 160? Nah, I don't know, man, because he ain't gonna fight Jamal. He ain't gonna fight Jamel. So I don't know, man, but I could definitely see that happen, man. I can't really think. I really couldn't believe I let somebody else I think Metro said it, and my boy from Philly said it. He brought it to my attention first, and I seen Metro said it in the Discord, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even think about that when I did a video in the morning and shit, Friday morning. So I'm like, damn, I didn't even think about that. But hey, it is what it is. You know, I think they want the Danny Garcia rematch, but then again, that fight was so fucking uneventful. It was just Errol Spence beating on Danny Garcia like he was a butcher, tenderizing some meat for an old lady, pause. You know? So, that's my thing. It ain't too much, it ain't a lot of, I think the Lara fight, but Lara just don't have a name, and maybe Danny can say, you know, mental health and the pandemic hurt me, and they could do it again at 60 and say, well, now I'm 100%, I ain't drained, I ain't mentally this, that, and the third. So that's the great thing about making excuses, man, for fighters. I can use the pandemic as an excuse to get people to buy the rematch. You know, you can say, well, I heard him, and, you know, so, you know how the game go. But, Yeah, you know how the game go. But yeah, I could definitely see that being the plan. Cause I don't see Danny getting in there with Jamel and Lara and Jamel. They'd make that shit happen. If Lara wants to, I know Jamal didn't want to fight Lara because he said their kids and family play together and all. What the hell they got to do with price of tea in China? Shit. But you know, we assuming that Danny Garcia. I mean, Lara old, but he old. But I still think Danny Garcia is so unathletic, dude. Lara should be able to not bang him out his frame, bro. If Lara have a close fight with Danny Garcia and he do win, I can't tell him not to go take that Errol Spence payday, but he need to be thinking long and hard about retirement. Cause ain't no way Danny Garcia 3, 4, 5 years ago wouldn't even be able to lay a glove on Erislandy Lara. Let's keep it real. He wouldn't even be able to lay a glove on dog. And if he out here getting beat on by Danny Garcia, that's kind of like how Vince Carter kind of was talking about how people tarnish his legacy because why he played so long and then fuck with his career stats when people in this era just look at, you know, he did an interview a while ago on Knucklehead Podcast, listen to it, and people kind of dock him for staying around too long. But even though I went back, even from years ago before he did this interview, I went back and looked at his statistics. I ain't know that motherfucker came in the league just 20 points a game, 20 points a game. I forgot Vince Carter was like that. You know, Phil Jackson said, well, he could have been the greatest of all time, but he didn't have the mentality. Vince made a good point. He said, I love basketball, or I wouldn't have stuck around so long. You know? But yeah, man, Vince could shoot it, dog. Hey, Vince had it all. People just question his motor. I mean, maybe because he didn't play with tenacity. He was up in Canada and shit, but yeah, Vince was the reason they put the dunk contest in NBA Live. Me and Kobe was just talking about that shit. Yeah. My Charleston white boys. He was the reason they put the dunk contest on NBA Live, bro. That was always, you know, the best dunk contest. You know, people point to Aaron Glenn and Zach LaVine and shit. But that one, bro, like sometimes a time, a place. Like I say this about a great song, and people say, well, this song ain't that great. Sometimes, man, it's the era the song was in. Like you can't go back. In like history, you can't go back and get that same feeling. Like if you wasn't around when a certain album or song dropped, you don't have that you're not synonymous with the time. And that's huge, especially in a rap, how rap don't really, you know, age that well, and that's kind of like hip hop's curse. You know what I'm saying? But like when you in a specific time period and something come out or something ain't been seen, like you can't buy that feeling if you wasn't there for it. You can't buy that feeling when, you know, Jay-Z dropped Hard Knock Volume 1, or when Pac was in jail when All Eyes on Me came. I mean, when Me Against the World came. You can't buy that feeling. You know, you can't buy that. But yeah, Lara and Errol, I mean, they supposedly could sell, but they want to do the Danny Garcia rematch. And like I said before, Pac say, I ain't mad at you. Was that on Me Against the World too? I could be wrong. I ain't mad at him, shit, but I don't want to see Danny Garcia get beat on again, you know, but that's probably the plan. He beat Terrence Crawford, that'd become even bigger. I still don't think it changed the immediate plan, but maybe it changed what he want to do with Jamel Charlo. Might. Enough zeros in front of fucking sign niggas gonna fight. Enough demand, people gonna fight. Charlo always acting hostile when he get asked a question and shit. You can see why people don't like him in that I'm an athlete interview. You can see why he very unlikable. And people point like people, you know, how pointing like he unapproachable. You can see why people don't fuck with him. And sometimes you gotta be honest with yourself, but if that's genuinely who he is as a person, bro, you know, he just ain't gonna, you know, niggas ain't gonna fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. If you truly gonna be like how he really is and disrespectful. And I'm just surprised, like, bro, how he lasts this long, bro. Unless his energy totally different in the street, bro. Like in Detroit, bro. No matter, man, nigga would have been popped his ass. They had to, you know, Maul had to been protecting him. Or, you know, they had to be living in a safe neighborhood, bro. Because in my neighborhood, dog, man, he beat nigga ass, bro. You might even get that opportunity. Ben popped his ass how he is, bro. You can't be walking around like that. Real talk. And I ain't, shoot, you could fight his ass off. Hell of a fighter. He was my pound for pound list before all that shit happened for years. But that way that nigga be acting, dog, oh, man. Man. I know niggas like that popped off at the mouth like that. Just, it's one thing to pop off with niggas you kick it with or go to school with, or, niggas, nah, this nigga, that nigga Bubba Dub tripping, that nigga D tripping and shit. That's how that nigga is. But niggas you don't know, nigga, fuck is that nigga, man? I don't know, go whoop his ass, like. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Let me know what you girls and guys think, man. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, that subscribe button, it's the bell icon button, hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We got live drop video, financially want to support the channel. Cash App, $, CJ Good 313, Venmo, CJ Good 313, PayPal link in description. Hit the link tree, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Shout out to y'all, follow me on TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. If I ain't never said, shout out to Gary for donating to PayPal as well too the other week. Peace.